Well, welcome to another one of our words of encouragement. You know, we're always to be an Easter people. Well, this talk and the following one will very much have an Easter focus. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me, so far from my cries of anguish? You know, these words or something like them can be something you may feel like saying, maybe not out loud, but quietly under your breath. When life's tough, it can feel like God is distant. Where is God? Where are you, Lord, in this situation? Well, actually, what I said there at the beginning was a quote from Psalm 22, a poem in the Bible, in the Old Testament. And it's a song of pain. Someone is going through the most difficult of times and feels utterly rejected and alone. Some of the lines from that psalm later on: do not be far from me, for trouble is near, and there is no one to help. Predict someone who experienced that cry around 1,000 years later. Someone who did that cry as a prayer, God the Son, to God the Father. Jesus hanging on a cross. And in Mark 15, we're told this. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And at 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? See, God the Son became one of us, fully identified with us. And on that cross, on that Friday, 2,000 years ago, Jesus experienced true, awesome, awful desolation. Jesus, who had only ever known great pleasure, the most joyful pleasure in the presence of the Father, is the one who the Father judges in our place for all that is wrong. He pays the price for our wrong, our sin. And for that time on the cross, Jesus enjoys no peace, no intimacy with God. The one who did nothing wrong experiences that out of love for you and for me. How awesome for the Son and for the Father to experience that in their relationship. Yet they both chose to do this out of love for us, to rescue us, to give us the only way to be at peace with God, to give people who are separated from God the way to be reconciled and to enjoy the presence of God. Does God care? Yes. God embraces what life can throw at us, the very worst of life. Jesus was rejected by so many of his friends and followers, betrayed by one of his 12 disciples, experienced sham trials and torture by so many of the religious and military leaders of that generation, and then was executed as a criminal on a cross. And on that cross, Jesus cries this terrible cry, my God, why have you forsaken me? Rejected by men and rejected by God. See, God knows the struggles of life, physically and most of all spiritually. And the cross shows that God knows the worst of life and cares. But it also shows the way of life. See, the cross is the most awesome and terrible reality, but it is also the most glorious throne of salvation, because it is about bringing life. Let's go back to that Psalm 22 poem. And towards the end, it goes on to say this: I will declare your name to my people. In the assembly, I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. For he has not despised or scorned the suffering of the afflicted one. He has not hidden his face from him, but has listened to his cry for help. From you comes the theme of my praise in the great assembly. Before those who fear you, I will fulfill my vows. The poor will eat and be satisfied. Those who seek the Lord will praise him. May your hearts live forever. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord. All the families of the nations will bow down before him. For dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. They will proclaim his righteousness, declaring to a people yet unborn, he has done it. He has done it. The cross. And so that psalm ends with a glorious worldwide hope, proclaiming a future. The cross was no failure. He has done it. price is paid, and Jesus lives again to be the one who gives us that glorious future. He embraces the worst to bring us to the best. Life, and most importantly, spiritual life, peace with God. Jesus has done it all. You know, few of us would choose life as it is presently. Life back in January surely seems very attractive for many of us compared to what life is like right now. But you know, Jesus willingly chose the cross. He embraced that pathway. He embraced the way that would lead to that cry of desolation. We don't always understand why life is like it is, but we can have certainty in the hope given in the cross. We are to be a Good Friday people with an Easter hope. Jesus' death is the only good death, because it is the death that gives us life. Life is so hard now for so many, but we know that we don't have a God who is aloof to us, but cares enough to do what it takes to embrace the worst to bring us to the best. You know, look back to that event 2,000 years ago, that Easter Passion. It will help you with the present, because when you know Jesus and what he's done for you on that cross, it will help you now, because it guarantees the most glorious future. Amen.